Welcome to Practical Shamanism. I'm Katie Weatherup. I'm a former engineer with 20 years of experience working as a shamanic practitioner, and I hope to help you to connect to your personal power and magic and to support you in living a really good life that just keeps getting better. Thank you so much for joining me. This podcast is intended to provide a map for deeper engagement for the experienced seeker, as well as practical, accessible knowledge for the person who wasn't quite sure how to pronounce shamanism when they started listening to this podcast. And as a side note, there are actually a couple of different ways to pronounce it. So a little more about me. At 24, I found myself stepping into my adult life with an engineering degree, unmanaged psychic gifts, and a painful lack of interpersonal skills. I was overwhelmed, overstimulated, and exhausted a good deal of the time. Yet this led me to an amazing journey of self-discovery that continues to unfold to this day. I now have 3 published books, including Practical Shamanism, a guide for walking in both worlds, and I'm thrilled that my full-time shamanic practice has allowed me to work with thousands of clients all over the world. In addition, my social circle is rich and extensive to a degree I never could have imagined as a lonely teenager who got along way better with her goats than with her fellow human beings. My mechanical engineering background has helped me to focus my healing work on the necessity of system integrity. The human spirit is a highly complex system that can break down in complicated and subtle ways. So much of my shamanic work is oriented toward wholeness. I help people to recover their power and magic, as well as the parts of themselves that they've lost, forgotten, denied, or disowned. I've done more than 10,000 shamanic journeys, and I'm very comfortable working with the hard, scary stuff. So a little more about this podcast. It's meant to provide a map to bring a key part of yourself into a collaborative relationship with the other aspects of yourself. And in doing so, your external results, such as success with money, career, and relationship, may improve dramatically with less effort on your part. As Archimedes is reported to have said, "Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, and I shall move the world." I'm passionate about finding the leverage points in which a small amount of well-applied effort creates significant outcomes. So everything I recommend is filtered through a lens of efficiency. I assume you're already living a busy, full life, and if you carve out a bit of bandwidth to listen to my words or do a practice I recommend, you'll need it to make a meaningful difference in your life. For the internal side, these concepts will help you to reduce anxiety and to give you some new ways to combat depression. Do you play an unkind script in your head that recounts your many failings? I'll help you understand why your mind does this to you and how to redirect it in a happier fashion. I'd love to help you understand how to tend your energy body, which is a great way to support improvement with health challenges or to clear health issues before they even manifest. And my hope is to provide you with a meaningful way to engage with your sense of soul purpose and to feel you have a trustworthy internal compass as you navigate your life. So why shamanism? I found it the most aligned framework for helping me to navigate and utilize the information my sense of energy was providing. Core shamanism, a term coined by Michael Harner, refers to the set of practices that are universal or nearly universal across indigenous cultures throughout the world. My shamanic journey has been the work of mastering a set of shamanic skills and applying them to the challenges of the modern first world experience, for myself and for my clients. If you'd like to geek out a bit more on my take on shamanism, see the link below in the show notes. You can read the introduction to my first book on my website. Now you may be thinking, but Katie, I'm not sure I perceive energy like you. Will this still be helpful? The answer is yes, absolutely. I believe it's an aspect of being human that we can, with the right skills for tuning in, get information about the energy in our own system and the world around us. You may not know that part of yourself because for most of us it's not engaged with or validated when we're growing up. The human brain as we grow is a clearinghouse for sorting so much information, and it decides what's relevant and should come to our attention and what should be filed at the unconscious level. One example of this is how babies are validated for making noises that are part of the language that the people around them are speaking. This ability to filter and sort what is and isn't relevant helps us to be able to drive safely and give us the skill to tune into a conversation we're in a loud, crowded restaurant. It seems like a child who was born with the ability to hear in a community where everyone else was born deaf and had been for many generations would use their sense of hearing, but they wouldn't develop a cognitive map or a language to talk about their experience because they wouldn't have anyone to reflect or validate it. So consider the possibility that you actually have a lot of access to your ability to sense energy or your psychic abilities, but because no one was talking to you about them, they didn't get trained or developed, and so the information that they have is dismissed by your brain as it sorts for the things that are validated in our culture. In my particular case, my energetic sensitivity was just so darn high that I was bombarded with white noise to the point that I was dissociative as a child. In fact, my sense of being able to determine what a particular smell is, or my ability to identify direction from a sound, are somewhat impaired. And what I imagine was that the energetic senses I was feeling were so loud that some of the brain that was sorting out how to deal with smell and sound didn't get a chance to develop as finely as it does in a normal child, where the unseen world isn't talking to them so loudly. So if you feel like you don't hear clearly, or you kind of have to work to tune in, it can actually be a really huge blessing because it's an easier way to develop the ability and tune into that sense than to have the volume turned up ridiculously loudly all the time. Although, if like me, you're one of the people where that sense just is on high all the time, I'll teach you some skills to filter and work with that so that you're not stuck with the radio really loud all the time. My social skills got way better when I learned to energetically filter and shield because I wasn't so overwhelmed with the loudness, so I started to be able to correctly interpret and respond to social cues, which was a great relief to me and to, I imagine, everyone else who was dealing with me. So thank you so much for listening to this introduction, and I hope you'll join me. After talking to my guides for 20 years on a daily basis for myself and others, I have a lot to share, and I very much hope you find something here to support you in your journey. Thank you so much for joining me. To learn more about me and my work, please visit my website at handsoverheart.com. There you can join my mailing list for access to free bonus content in the members-only area. If you've enjoyed this, please consider subscribing and leaving a review. It would help me out a lot. Also, a special thank you to my patrons for your support. You offer me the time freedom to work on passion projects like this one. If you'd like to receive personal shamanic support from me and my team of guides, please consider joining my Patreon community. You'll find the link below. And again, thank you so much for listening. This is Katie Weatherup, wishing you wholeness and happiness.